Okay, so let's take a look at the first backing track out of our 5, and it's entitled Just Dance. And if you'll notice, the dance is spelt with a T and a Z in it. And that's mainly because this tune was influenced by the amazing guitar player Wayne Krantz. If you haven't heard of him, make sure you check him out. Amazing player, very rhythmic based player, but just absolutely fantastic, really inspiring. And this tune came about as I was really inspired by him. So I wanted to write something in the vein of kind of what he would do, and this is what came out. I've graded this as a number 1 essentially because there are only 2 main changes in it, so it's not specifically difficult from a changes perspective. However, it's not that easy to solo over. You've got to be correct with the timing. You've also got to know what's going on with the chords within the backing track. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through the chords of the actual backing track itself. The majority of chords within this backing track you'll find are just simply 5 chords, or just triads with either the 3rd or the 5th dropped out and an extra note added to that chord itself. So no 7th chord and their extensions within this particular backing track itself. So let me show you the first part of it, and it goes like this. Okay, that's the first part. You'll probably guess straight away it's a Dorian based groove. Okay, the second part that's where we get our change. So let me just quickly take you through that and how I approached soloing over it for the example. The first bit, it's really important to follow where the chords are here. Obviously it's we're using Dorian mode here, so you can go straight to playing a Dorian mode. So that's going to work. However, I like to be a bit more careful here and be specific about where I put this note, the major 6 within that Dorian mode. Because if you go to it too soon, sometimes it can have a negative impact on the sound of the phrases that you're playing. So you really want to be 100% aware of what's happening with the chords. And hopefully that will affect the way you phrase over those chord changes. So it is absolutely just Dorian throughout the first section. Even here, you've got a movement there. If we look at the chords, I'll put the bass in it as well. And then the next one is... So it moves up from like a G8, G5 to a C5 and a D5, just power chords. Okay, the next part, if I simplify that, it will just be an F major chord to a G major chord. Now that implies we can look at that a number of different ways, lots of different ways to look at it, but because you've got 2 major chords a tone apart there, that implies that they're 4 and 5 of a key. So if we're thinking from the perspective of A still, that would then change to A Aeolian. So all we'd have to do is from Dorian just flatten the 6th degree. So go from to that. And that will give you the sound of that change within this backing track. So I just put my gain on here. So we can use Dorian over the majority of it, but when we get to our little change here, that's where we can change. Sorry, I'm having to flick here. That's when we change to... what I do as well here is I just concentrate on making sure that I highlight that change, the major 6 going to a minor 6 there. So as long as you highlight that within your playing, So the key is there, just highlight that change. So it's really important to do that. But just to recap on this, it's really important to follow where the chords move. And the reason I say that is because you need to be aware of what the intervals you're playing are against each chord. So here, when you have, for instance, that second part, you've got a change there that kind of moves up to the D. So I would be thinking, you can hear that movement there. Hopefully just in those simple lines that I were playing just there, that you can hear the change from one chord to the next, even without the chords in the background. So that's pretty much sums this first backing track up. Like I say before, it's not that easy to solo over this. It's pretty tricky because you've got to get the timing just right. Especially that 4 to 5 chord, the F to the G chord, doesn't last very long. So you've got to use that change, that minor 6 interval, very, very creatively.